बाद में माइक आ जाए तो सबका खा जाते हैं वो बेचारे. Thank you, Dr. Saab. Thank you very much. Okay, let me start the formal program, today's formal program. Again, good morning to all of you. Today we are delighted to welcome two esteemed guests from Serene Heart Council. I would like to say thank you to the administrator and the owner of Serene Heart Center and Dr. Anjum as well, who has been the instrumental to organize these two young doctors or ladies. The name of the doctor is Dr.Bisleen Atlee, naturopath. I honestly, this is one of the interesting subject personally for me, because today organic, everything revolves around natural therapies and all that stuff. I'm not entitled to talk on this subject. Better they talk on this. So I will move on. The next guest speaker is Ms. Christine Woof, client-centered therapist. They will be delivering an informative talk on brain health and disease prevention in seniors. Dr. Bisleen practices naturopathy. Doctor, can you help me out?
Yes, naturopathic medicine.
Naturopathic medicine, a holistic and increasingly popular field of healthcare. Ms. Christine is a client-centered therapist who provides a non-judgmental space where each individual story is received with curiosity and respect. We are honored to have them with us today, and I would now like to invite both of them to lead this valuable session. Dr. Atlee and Christy, please come on the stage.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for having us. So yes, our topic is brain health and disease prevention in seniors. And as we age, we become more mindful of our health, right? It's very common to focus on our hearts and our bones. So I'm going to bear with me as I remember how to use PowerPoint. So we do pay attention to these things. We stay active, we eat well, we attend our regular checkups, and these all support physical health. But there's another part of well-being that is also incredibly important, and that's brain health. So today we're going to explore how we can protect and support our brains as we get older. And whether you're here for yourself or a loved one, or you just want to learn, this discussion is about empowering you, giving you the tools, the knowledge, and the confidence to support lifelong cognitive wellness. So brain health is incredibly important. Cognitive decline is one of the top concerns in aging populations. How many would agree that you do have a concern about how you are aging cognitively, right? Healthy brain function supports your memory, and by that, your independence and your quality of life. So aging increases that risk of diseases such as dementia, right? Stroke, Alzheimer's, which is a form of dementia, but also things like depression and anxiety are increasingly common as we age. So early awareness and prevention can delay or reduce severity of such things. Did everybody hear me okay? Yeah. Okay, great.
Bring closer to your mouth.
Okay. Oh, that sounds loud. Okay. So dementia is a general term for different disorders. They all affect memory, thinking, behavior, and emotion. And those early symptoms are things like memory loss, difficulty performing tasks, changes in your personality even, or problems with language. Like I said, Alzheimer's disease is the most common cause of dementia. you can see worldwide, and this is 2025 statistic from the Alzheimer's Association, 7.2 million people over the age of 65 have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's dementia. And that number increases from 65 as you reach 85 plus. So it's a real concern. It is a valid, real concern of the aging population. But also of concern is anxiety. So for Canadian statistics, about 6% have an actual diagnosed anxiety disorder. But worldwide, just symptoms of anxiety is about 28% in seniors. That is a large number. That is a lot of seniors. And it makes sense. Anxiety can present with excessive worry, things like worrying about your finances and your health and even your family as you're aging are valid concerns, and they're felt by a lot of seniors. A persistent fears of falling, fears of losing your independence, fears of losing your quality of life, fears of losing those people around you that you love. Okay? Also things, physical symptoms, sleep disturbances, fatigue, low energy, that difficulty concentrating. Also very important is depression. About 15% of Canadian seniors have significant levels of depressive symptoms. So maybe not diagnosed depression, but depressive symptoms. So loss of energy, decreased interest in pleasure and activities, pain, physical pain, and memory problems. This can come from many different reasons. Some are like social isolation. That is a very common concern for seniors. As you get older, you may lose friend groups, you're not working anymore, so you're not seeing people every day. Your children have grown, they have very busy schedules of their own, they're not visiting as much. You may have mobility issues, difficult to get out to places you used to go to, right? So we're socially isolated, not connecting with others anymore. Right now in Canada, 15 to 20% of seniors say they are socially isolated. And with this can come loneliness. It doesn't have to. Some people have no problem being alone. You may love to spend time on your own and you don't feel lonely. But a lot of people do. It's estimated 19 to 50% of seniors, when asked, will say they are experiencing loneliness. And sometimes loneliness doesn't have to come with social isolation either. So you could be with people all the time, but you're not connecting well, right? So you're getting out, you're going to the grocery store, maybe you're going to groups, you're just not finding that connection, and it can lead to loneliness. And with loneliness, there's a high chance that you'll be feeling depressed. And lastly, grief is a huge source of depression. The unfortunate part of getting older is that we also lose people, right? So loss of family members, loss of maybe beloved pets, loss of your independence, loss of your vocation, a work that used to give you purpose. There's a lot of grief, which can bring about depression. So now that I have just made the room heavy, and all of you are saying, thank you, Christy, for highlighting all of these things that I didn't want to have to think about. Really, there is good news. There are proactive steps that you can take to change the course of your brain health for the better. You can optimize your cognitive functioning and mental well-being through practical steps in daily life. So the 6 pillars of brain health. These simple lifestyle habits can keep your brain sharp, healthy, and working well as you age. And so Dr.Bisleen is going to go over these 6 pillars.
Okay, so let's get back to positivity, because there is a lot that all of you can do to support your brain health. So as a naturopathic doctor, all I focus on is brain health and mental health in my practice. I love teaching people how they can optimize their brains, because if you have your brain right, everything else in your life follows. And all of the things that we talked about before here, right? So whenever I work with seniors in my practice, I always tell them 3 areas of your health that you need to watch out for at this age that you're at. Number 1 is always brain health, because I love brain health and bias. Number 2 is heart health, and number 3 is bone health. And the best part is that when you focus on your brain health, heart health and bone health follow. So always start with the brain health piece of things. And so getting into these 6 pillars, what we really want you to take away from today's talk are simple strategies that you can use on an everyday basis to support these pillars. And the big thing that I really want to emphasize here is that It's not hard and complicated. If you feel like taking care of your health feels hard and complicated, it's because you're making it complicated. And whenever I make a treatment plan for my patients, they're always like, this is it, this is all I have to do. I'm like, yeah, it's actually very easy. So as I go through these pillars today, I want you to actively commit to 1 to 2 action steps from each pillar that you're going to do every single day and consistently commit to it. Because when you do the simple things consistently over a period of time, you'll see massive, massive changes and results in your life. And most importantly, you will protect your brain health long term. So to get into it, first pillar is exercise. So I want a raise of hands of honestly tell me who exercises every single day? Every single day, who exercises? Okay, to keep those hands up. Who exercises? Keep your hands up if you exercise for 30 minutes every day. Okay, keep your hands up if you do it for 60 minutes. Anybody past 60 minutes? Some of you in here? Okay, awesome. Now raise your hands if you do strength training. Hey, no hands up. Okay, what are the types of exercises you're doing?
Do you want me to walking?
Okay.
Walk mostly.
Okay. Walking is not exercise. Okay? You can hate me for that, but walking is not exercise. Walking is something great we do to move our bodies, to get some fresh air, to clear our minds after we've gotten into a fight with our families. But walking is not exercise. So what is exercise? Exercise are things that actually put stress on your body so that your body has to get stronger. Walking doesn't do that. What does that? Strength training. Strength training. There is an incredible doctor, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, and she talks about how muscle is the organ of longevity. At the age that you're at, you need muscle. Who suffers from knee pain? Raise your hand. Who suffers from any joint pain? Just any joint pain, you're feeling achy? Yeah, strength training can make all that go away. Okay? You don't need to rest more, you need to actually get weights, lift them, and put stress and strain on your joints and your muscles so things get stronger, so your body gets stronger. Walking will not do that. And if you go on walks in a way where your heart rate would actually get faster, right? So that you have to breathe more, so that stress is placed on your body. So your body's like, I don't have a choice but to get stronger. That's what we need at the age that you're at. So 2 to 3 times a week, non-negotiable strength training. Even if you just want to right now, put on a YouTube video and just do some squats, body weight squats, whatever it is, start with that. But strength training is a non-negotiable. Okay. Now, other types of exercises, I know we have, so brisk walking, all these things are fantastic. Even doing things like yoga is great too, because we want to make sure flexibility is one of the things that you lose as well as you age. So doing mobility, flexibility type exercises is great. But to kind of sum this up, the best thing you can do is to strength train. Okay. And what I want you to understand too is when you exercise, you're actually helping your brain build new cells and connections. So no, even if, as you get older, a lot of us start to believe that our brain is fixed, right? We think that this is it, this is just how our brain is going to be for the rest of our lives. But research shows us that even into your 60s, 70s, 80s, your brain is building new cells and connections. So you can change. Your thinking patterns can change. How you see the world, your perspective, all of that stuff can change. And one of the best ways to actually shift your mindset and help your brain build new cells and connections is to do exercise. Okay? So one of the most powerful things that you can do for your brain. The second thing that's also very important is getting a high quality sleep. Who wakes up in the morning and feels refreshed, like they have energy? Okay, 5 people. Who doesn't? Who struggles with sleep? Yeah, okay, a lot more of us struggle with sleep. So what starts to happen as we get older is that your hormone melatonin, so melatonin is the hormone that signals your brain it's time to fall asleep. As you get older, it starts to decline quite significantly. So what becomes really important are your sleeping habits and the environment that you sleep in. So the fancy magical word for that is called sleep hygiene. So this is something that you can, Google a bit more, find some more research on. But sleep hygiene essentially refers to the environment that you sleep in and your sleeping habits before bed. Who's on their phone before bed? Everybody raise. Who's watching TV before bed? Everybody raise your hands. So that is by far one of the worst things that you can do for your sleep. The reason for that is when you are on a screen before bed, you're actually telling your brain that it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And if your brain thinks it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon, your brain's not going to produce your hormone melatonin. And especially at the age that you're at, these sleeping habits become that much more important for you because your brain is generally already decreasing its production of melatonin. So your sleeping habits matter that much more. So if you're not watching TV, then what else can you do before bed?
Sudoku, I do the puzzles.
Yeah, Sudoku is great. One thing you want to be mindful of with puzzles, just make sure it's not too stimulating, because sometimes Sudoku can be a little bit difficult. If it's too stimulating, it can also keep you up, so make sure it's relaxing you. Anything else? What else can you do before bed? Let's get some ideas.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
I was on an app yesterday,
Yeah.
and it said on that, whether it was a promotional thing or not, they said the best thing you can do is play on that app for 30 minutes for a very restful sleep. Now what you're saying is contradicting to what they are saying in that app.
Yes, that's a total lie. Yeah, don't listen to the app. Anything being on your screen, no matter how relaxing it's making you feel, it's funny, lighthearted, whatever it is, anything being on a screen is gonna keep your brain and tell your brain that it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's not gonna produce melatonin. All the research points to this.
Okay, and what about those special lights I can put up in the room, the stars and all that, is that a right thing? Because that's also light.
Yes, so
What do you say to that?
yeah, so little details like that I'm not too picky on. I think the big thing is just making sure that you don't have too much light, because keep in mind that our sleeping and waking cycles is very closely related to the sun and the dark, right? The sun and the moon. And so, for example, in winter, we start to get sleepy around 5 o'clock because it's dark outside. The darkness actually tells our brain produce melatonin. The light tells our brain to stay up and awake. So if you struggle to get out of bed, something I always tell my patients, turn on all your lights. Tell your brain it's time to actually wake up and get sunlight first thing in the morning. So if you want little, starry lights around, not a problem. Just make sure it's not too overstimulating that it kind of keeps you up. Okay? Other things you can do before bed, reading. Reading is fantastic. You can take a hot bath if you like. Be mindful of not doing anything overly active like exercise or walking too much before bed. But anything that helps you relax that isn't technology. We will have a significant improvement in your sleep overall. Okay? Awesome. And what I also want you to always remember when it comes to sleep is that sleep is the time of the night that your brain clears away all toxins. So when we look at Alzheimer's disease, the hallmark of Alzheimer's disease are these beta amyloid plaques. So these plaques get built up in your brain, and when these plaques get built up in your brain, it takes away your brain's ability to function appropriately, and that's what essentially leads to those Alzheimer's disease symptoms that show up. And so when you sleep and have a high quality sleep, your brain actually clears away those plaques. That's what research is showing us. So having a high quality sleep is really, really important. It's not just about sleeping 8 hours a night, but making sure you feel refreshed and like you have energy when you wake up. And if you're on technology before bed, your brain's not getting into a deep, restful state of sleep, so it's not actually clearing all the toxins from its brain. Yeah?
See, the most concerned problem, especially for me,
Yeah.
when I go to bed, sleep, and after 2 hours or 3 hours, I need to go to the washroom.
Yes.
When I finish washroom, I come back on my bed.
Yeah.
Sometimes I cannot sleep for 2 hours. Sometimes
Yeah.
I cannot. So what is the precautions we have to take while once we get up and
Yeah.
again want to sleep during the night?
Yes.
So what is the best method to sleep?
Yeah, so one thing I did want to say, because there's a short amount of time in this talk today, I can't give specific individual advice to everybody, that's where you come work with me one-on-one. But I'll answer this question, but just keep this in mind. This is general advice for today's talk because everybody's going to have different individual concerns, and the advice I give now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to apply to you because it's looking at what's causing you to wake up. You know, like maybe one of the things, if you're waking up to pee in the middle of the night, don't drink lots of water before bed, right? I always say 2 to 3 hours before bed, don't drink lots of water. If you feel thirsty, have tiny little sips. Instead of having lots of water. And then if you're trying to fall back asleep, something I always say is don't go back to bed until you feel sleepy, because we want your brain to be like, this is a place where we sleep. So if you're in bed trying to sleep but you're tossing and turning, get up and go read, do something else that relaxes you, then get back into bed instead of tossing and turning in bed, because then your brain will be like, this is a place where we toss and turn and don't sleep. Okay, so that can help with that. Okay.
Another question.
Yep.
I was suggesting or set up a bed in the washroom itself.
Or you can do that. There are lots of ways around this. I love that.
Urination bag also.
Okay, stress management is another big piece because we know chronic stress damages the brain over time. So really, really simple things that you can do. Does anybody feel like they struggle with managing stress? Everyone? Okay, nobody wants to raise their hand? Okay. Everybody struggles with it, I know. And so just simple things you can do. Number one, just getting into an exercise regimen is going to help you manage stress so much better, right? Making sure that you're eating right, and we're going to talk about nutrition as well. But meditation. Meditation is truly one of the most powerful things that we can do. We're just practicing deep breathing. Anybody do any meditation?
Medication.
Medication? Meditation, no medication. And in general, what I find for a lot of us is that we don't ever give ourselves space to just sit and do nothing and be still and sit in silence. And it's our inability to sit in silence and be still for a few minutes that actually makes our stress so much worse. Because we try to keep ourselves so busy, so distracted, you know, washing the dishes, doing the gardening, cleaning this, doing that, talking to this person, that we don't ever give ourselves a chance to just sit with ourselves and be. And so one of the most powerful things you can do to just practice managing your stress better is to practice being still, to practice to sit in the silence, to connect with your breath and your body. And even if you just want to start by doing a 10-minute meditation on YouTube and just practicing that way, that can be a powerful thing that you can do to start helping to manage your stress better, okay? The other thing I want to point out as well is don't be afraid to actually, is this showing up there? Yeah, get professional support and help as well. I think sometimes there can be a lot of stigma, especially within the communities. My background is South Asian and Punjabi. So, you know, there can be so much stigma just within our communities to reach out and get help and support. But know that, you know, you're in a very unique stage of life. And if you feel like, especially where you're at, loneliness is huge in the senior population. And sometimes it just helps to talk to someone about it, to get counseling, to get professional help and support. So really important to look into that. If you feel like you don't have enough supports or people to talk to, get that extra help and support, because loneliness is a huge thing that also leads to a lot of stress as well. Okay. Mental stimulation is another important pillar at especially your age. So we know that the brain shrinks as we age, and accelerated shrinking happens after the age of 60. And this is oftentimes because, you know, you're entering retirement, you're at the stage where we're not actually really learning anything new or stimulating our brain. And so very important that we continue to have this learning mindset, this growth mindset. And thinking about what is just something new that you can take on, and maybe something new that you haven't done before. My mom, at the age of 63, learned swimming for the first time. She had always wanted to learn swimming, and she's like, I'm just gonna do it. So she started taking swimming classes, and you know, she would call me and tell me I just learned how to do the floating, and she learned how to do all these different swimming moves. And I was just so inspired by her at the age of 63 that she learned swimming, and now she can swim better than me. So it's never too late to pick up something new, and by learning and doing these new activities, you're actually building a stronger brain. And maybe, you know, you don't want to go swimming, but even if you're driving, take a different pathway, right? If you go on a walk, maybe you're going to go walk and explore in a different way. Trying these new things will keep your brain stimulated, and mental stimulation is one of the most protective things that we can do for our brain. So is anybody learning anything new? Do you want to share some ideas with the group? What are some ways you're stimulating your brain?
AI, learning AI.
Yeah, learning AI. I love that. Yeah.
I'm learning a language,
What language are you learning?
Arabic.
Arabic. I love that.
And I tell you, learning AI
Yeah.
actually slows down my mental capabilities in writing.
That's more so using AI. Anyone else? Anyone else? Any other way you're stimulating your brain? Using ChatGPT? Yeah, sometimes it can slow your brain down a little depending on how much you use it. I know someone here is playing Sudoku. Yeah. Yeah, Sudoku's great. Yeah. Okay. So those are already some great ideas. So something I want you to commit to over this next week is look at what is something new that you can learn, or how can you add some newness in your day so that you don't feel like you're following the same routine over and over again. And then the fifth pillar is having an active social life. So loneliness literally can kill. There's actually studies done on this in the elderly and senior population to show just how detrimental loneliness can be to mental health and well-being. So having an active social life, this doesn't mean now you need to have 100 different friends and always be going out on the weekends and doing something new all the time with other people, but just having a strong community of people that you can reach out to for support, it becomes very important. Because when you have an active social life, it reduces stress, it enhances mood, promotes calmness, and most importantly, allows you to see that you have that capacity to cope with challenges. So if you feel like maybe this is an area that you're lacking in, I mean, you already have such a wonderful community here, which is great. You can volunteer, you can join a club. That's a great way to try something new. I know my mom has made so many new friends in her swimming classes and the aquafit classes she go to. So there's always so many things happening in the community and lots of opportunities for you to meet new people. How many of you feel like you have a good community around you? Yeah? Okay, awesome, great hands. And then the last piece of this is having a nutritious diet. And please don't undermine the importance of nutrition for great brain health. So when it comes to Alzheimer's disease and dementia, it has also been called type 3 diabetes. Has anybody ever heard that before? Type 3 diabetes?
Type 1, type 2, type 3.
Yes, and type 3 diabetes is essentially Alzheimer's disease. So blood sugar dysregulation is at the core of what Alzheimer's actually is. Because when we have too much sugar in our blood, it actually goes and forms those amyloid beta plaques. So it's that excess sugar that results in those plaques in the brain. So when I am talking to my patients about supporting their brain health long term, optimizing their blood sugar levels is something that I talk about with them. And within the South Asian population, we are all at risk of blood sugar dysregulation because all our ancestors ate rice all the time, okay? So that means that all of us need to support our blood sugar levels that much more. And so what does that mean, and how do we actually do that? So number one is eating enough protein. That is a big thing missing from the South Asian diet. If you are vegan or vegetarian, you are probably not getting enough protein. And that's gonna cause joint pain, muscle pain, all these aches, and it's also gonna cause your brain to struggle. Because when we think about your happiness hormones, your focus hormones, all of those are made from protein. And so you need to be getting at least 25 to 30 grams of protein with your meals. If there's one thing that you want to measure, you want to make sure you're getting your protein. And if you get enough protein, you'll notice a big shift in your mood, your energy, and just how you're feeling on a day-to-day basis. And the result is instant. Sometimes I see patients and all they need is more protein, and they just never see me again because they're feeling so good. Because that's how big of a difference it can make. Okay? The other piece too is making sure you're balancing your blood sugar well. So if you haven't gotten your blood work done for the year, I want you after this to go call your doctor and book your blood work. Please make sure you're getting your yearly blood work done. Before I create any treatment plans for my patients, I always look at their blood work because we need to see how your body is functioning. And it's the fastest way to pick up any nutrient deficiencies and any ways that your body needs support. So please, especially at the age you're at, do not skip on your yearly blood work. because there's so much you can tell us with your body. And so getting enough protein is important too. Hydration and drinking enough water. Who drinks 3 liters of water every day?
3 liters?
Yeah.
3 liters.
3 liters. Yeah, that's a lot of liters. Yeah.
You must be joking.
No, I'm not. I wish I was joking. I'm not. Getting enough water is really important too, right? Because one of the things that starts to happen is you end up having looser skin, you lose elasticity, your skin becomes more dry. And we know that even if you're a little bit deficient or not as hydrated, that actually reduces your brain function immediately. Okay, so getting enough of that water and hydration is extremely, extremely important. Even if it does mean that you're peeing more, you need to make sure you're getting enough water. Does anybody have any specific questions when it comes to the diet side of things?
How much protein you said? 25 grams?
25 to 30 grams of protein.
For that, how much meat we have to eat? Like 1 pound or half pound? Or what?
Yeah, so like a chicken breast. You can honestly, when you Google online, you can see exactly how much grams. I would say if you do have a little scale, or this is the one thing that you should take super, super seriously. So even if you want to order a little scale from Amazon to measure out your protein, do it, because that's how important it is. But like approximately like 1 chicken breast has that much. A salmon fillet has about like 25 grams of protein. 3 eggs.
Steak wise, like 1 big steak?
Yeah, 1 big steak is good. Egg wise, does anybody eat eggs? Yeah, so we think we're getting enough protein with eggs, but you're not. 1 egg has 6 grams of protein. Only 6 grams. So 3 eggs has about 18, but I don't know about you, but by 3 eggs, I can't even eat any more eggs. So egg whites are a great source of protein as well for you to get into. And you can get that in a carton, so you get enough of that protein. So very important to measure the amount of protein that you are having. And honestly, if there's anything you want to focus on with a nutritious diet, just start with the protein piece of things first, because that on its own is going to make a big difference. The other one last thing I'm going to add in with nutrition and diet, please be mindful of your carbs. Please be mindful of your carbs. Carbs get broken down into a molecule called glucose. Raises your blood sugar. Fruit gets broken down to a molecule called glucose, raises your blood sugar. So rice, bread, all of that stuff, that's sugar. Mangoes, papayas, kiwis, all that, it's all sugar. So I want you to put that all in the category of sugar. It's not bad for you, but you need to be mindful of your intake that you're having. Okay, and I'm particularly saying that because I'm speaking to the South Asian population.
Does kiwi has sugar?
Yeah, all fruit has sugar. All fruit is sugar. So your brain is not saying, oh, this is sugar from a kiwi. Let me use this differently than a candy bar. It uses it all in the same way. Okay, so a lot of us think, oh, we're having lots of fruit, I'm eating healthy, but actually you're just spiking up your blood sugar levels. So it's not about never having it, but the quantity is what matters. Most of your calories and nutrition should be coming from proteins, healthy fats, so things like nuts and seeds, avocados, and vegetables. Lots and lots of vegetables. Sorry?
Berries?
Yeah, berries are a fantastic fruit. That's the one fruit I'm like, you can have as much of. And lots and lots of vegetables. Okay? Yeah?
The vegetarians, they get their protein with the pulses, lentils,
Yes.
and other things.
They can, but I'm just saying, I know from clinical experience, a lot of vegetarians aren't doing it right. A lot of people don't get enough of it, that's the issue. So people will have lentils, but they won't have enough of them to qualify for the protein that they should be getting, and as a result of that, their mental health and brain health struggles a lot. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion about chia seed and hemp seed?
Yeah, they're fantastic. They're a great source of healthy fats. Hemp seeds also have some great protein. Chia seeds, great source of omega-3s. So they're fantastic. Yeah.
What about vegetables like broccoli, spinach, kale,
Yeah.
and cauliflower?
All vegetables are amazing
They
vegetables.
have protein.
No, they don't have any protein. Vegetables have 0 protein. 0 protein. So no protein from vegetables, but they're really great for you. So still eat them. Yeah. Okay. So I know that, again, the diet piece can be sometimes the most overwhelming piece to manage, but really if you're getting your protein in, some sort of healthy fats and veggies, like you're doing a great job. It really just has to be as simple as that. And then the last thing, if you really want to amp it up, just make sure you're getting enough variety in your diet. So when I was going through medical school, they told us that we should be having 30 different vegetables a week. I was like, I don't even know 30 different vegetables. But that's just an example to show you the level of variety that we should be getting in our diet that we're often not, because variety is just as important as the food that we're eating. Okay? All right, so who's overwhelmed now? No one? Everyone? Okay.
3 liter water.
Amazing. I know, with the 3 liter water, most overwhelming. So what we've done here is what you'll see is the handouts that you have is we've written a lot of the tips on the side, okay? So I would really encourage you, when you go home, give yourself a day or two to digest this information, but actively, every single week, pick one new thing that you're gonna add on. And you wanna make sure from each of these pillars, you have at least 2 to 3 things that you're doing on a weekly basis to support your brain health. And if you do that, Alzheimer's disease will never touch you. I can't guarantee that, but it'll protect you a lot, okay?
Thank you.